Tonight, alarming new concerns are spreading across the global security community as growing speculation surrounding Iran and North Korea begins drawing serious international attention. Analysts are now asking whether a deeper military partnership between the two nations could reshape the balance of power in the Middle East and create a new level of tension for the United States and its allies. For years, both Iran and North Korea have operated under intense international sanctions, diplomatic isolation, and constant military pressure from the West. Yet, despite those restrictions, neither country appears to be slowing down. Instead, both governments have continued expanding their missile programs, military infrastructure, and strategic defense capabilities at a pace that is now raising concern among global intelligence agencies. Over the past several weeks, online political channels and geopolitical observers have fueled growing speculation that North Korea may be increasing military cooperation with Iran behind the scenes. Some reports have even suggested that advanced missile technology linked to North Korea's Hwasong-17 program could somehow be connected to Iran's expanding long-range weapons ambitions. While many of these claims remain unverified, the conversation alone has been enough to trigger concern across Washington, Tel Aviv, and several Western defense circles. Because if Iran were ever to gain access to more advanced intercontinental missile technology, the strategic landscape of the Middle East could change dramatically. The Hwasong-17 is widely considered one of the most powerful intercontinental ballistic missile systems ever revealed by North Korea. Military experts describe it as a symbol of long-range strategic deterrence, a weapon designed not just for regional influence, but for projecting power far beyond nearby borders. That is exactly why growing speculation surrounding Iran and North Korea has become such a major topic in geopolitical discussions. For many analysts, the concern is no longer just about one country acting alone. The fear now centers around the possibility of sanctioned states quietly building strategic partnerships, capable of challenging Western influence on multiple fronts. Intelligence experts have long suspected that Iran and North Korea maintained various levels of military contact over the years. Discussions surrounding missile research, weapons development, underground facilities, and defense engineering have circulated within international security circles for decades. Although very little has ever been officially confirmed, many observers believe cooperation between the two countries may be far deeper than publicly acknowledged. At the same time, global alliances are beginning to shift in ways few expected just a decade ago. Countries facing Western sanctions are increasingly finding common ground with one another, building new economic and military relationships outside traditional Western systems. Russia, Iran, North Korea, and even China are now frequently mentioned together in conversations about an emerging geopolitical realignment. For Israel, these developments are being watched extremely closely. Israeli defense officials have repeatedly warned that Iran's growing missile capabilities represent one of the biggest long-term threats to national security. And if Tehran continues improving its military technology through foreign cooperation, Israeli military planners fear the regional balance could become far more dangerous in the years ahead. Meanwhile, dramatic headlines across social media have intensified public anxiety even further. Viral videos claiming 30 bases destroyed overnight or Iran's new missile power changes everything have generated millions of views online. These presentations often combine real geopolitical tensions with dramatic speculation, creating an atmosphere of fear, uncertainty, and suspense. Experts say this reflects a new era of information warfare. In today's world, perception itself has become a strategic weapon. A single satellite image, leaked intelligence report, or viral military headline can instantly influence public opinion and global political pressure. Iran's military strategy has also evolved significantly over the last several years. Rather than relying only on conventional warfare, Tehran has invested heavily in drones, precision missile systems, cyber capabilities, and asymmetric warfare tactics. Many defense analysts believe Iran is attempting to build a military structure capable of deterring larger and more technologically advanced enemies. North Korea has followed a similar path. Despite decades of sanctions and international isolation, Pyongyang continues conducting missile tests and expanding its strategic weapons programs. Each new launch sends a message not only to regional rivals but to the international community as a whole. This is why the possibility of deeper cooperation between Tehran and Pyongyang is creating so much concern. Analysts fear that combining North Korea's missile expertise with Iran's rapidly advancing drone and regional warfare capabilities could create a far more complex security challenge in the future. Inside Washington, strategic planners are now facing multiple global crises at the same time. The United States remains deeply involved in Europe, closely monitoring tensions in the Pacific and maintaining a strong military presence throughout the Middle East. A stronger Iran backed by external military cooperation could further complicate an already unstable global security environment. Military technology itself is also changing rapidly. Future conflicts may no longer depend entirely on tanks and fighter jets. Instead, cyber warfare, artificial intelligence, autonomous drones, electronic attacks, and hypersonic missile systems are becoming the defining tools of modern combat. Israeli defense systems such as Iron Dome, David's Sling, and Arrow have demonstrated impressive capabilities over the years. However, military experts warn that even advanced defense networks could face enormous pressure during large-scale coordinated missile attacks involving multiple technologies and launch points. Across the Middle East, governments are watching the situation carefully. Many fear that any major regional conflict could trigger massive economic consequences, disrupt global energy markets, and destabilize international trade routes. In an interconnected world economy, even a limited military escalation can create worldwide financial shockwaves. At the same time, ordinary people across the globe are consuming these developments in real time through YouTube channels, social media feeds, and political commentary platforms. The line between verified intelligence, speculation, and cinematic storytelling is becoming increasingly difficult to separate. Some analysts believe this confusion is intentional. Modern geopolitical competition is no longer fought only with armies and weapons. It is also fought through narratives, public fear, and digital influence. Controlling the global conversation can sometimes be just as important as controlling territory. Tonight, one reality is becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. The world is entering a new era of geopolitical uncertainty. Alliances are shifting, military technology is evolving faster than ever before, and nations once considered isolated are now building relationships that could reshape the global balance of power. The biggest question now is not whether tensions are rising. The question is how far these emerging alliances are willing to go, and whether the world is prepared for what could come next. As global tensions continue rising, intelligence analysts are now focusing on another major concern: the possibility that Iran is quietly transforming itself into one of the most heavily fortified military powers in the Middle East. Behind the headlines and political speeches, experts believe Tehran may already be preparing for a future where large-scale conflict is no longer just a possibility, but a realistic scenario. Over the past several years, Iran has significantly expanded its underground military infrastructure. Satellite imagery and defense reports have repeatedly pointed toward the construction of hardened missile facilities, underground drone bases, protected command centers, and deeply buried weapons storage sites designed to survive potential airstrikes. Military observers say these underground systems are not being built randomly. Instead, they appear designed for long-term strategic survival, allowing Iran to continue military operations even during sustained attacks from technologically superior enemies. This strategy has drawn major attention from Western defense planners. Unlike traditional military powers that rely heavily on visible bases and open installations, Iran has focused on creating a decentralized military network capable of operating under extreme pressure. Experts warn that this makes any future confrontation far more difficult and unpredictable. At the same time, Iran's drone program has rapidly evolved into one of the most closely watched military developments in the region. What began as a limited program has transformed into a sophisticated network of surveillance and attack drones, and long-range unmanned systems capable of reaching strategic targets across large distances. Defense analysts believe Iran's growing drone capabilities could become one of the most important factors in future conflicts. Modern drones are cheaper, harder to detect, and capable of overwhelming expensive air defense systems through large coordinated attacks. Several experts now warn that future wars may look completely different from the conflicts of the past. Instead of massive troop movements and traditional invasions, battles may increasingly involve cyber attacks, electronic warfare, drone swarms, satellite disruption, and long-range missile strikes launched within minutes. This shift in warfare is exactly why growing cooperation between Iran, Russia, and North Korea is causing so much concern. Russia offers battlefield experience and advanced engineering, while North Korea contributes missile development expertise. Iran provides regional influence, drone technology, and asymmetric warfare tactics developed over decades. Some geopolitical analysts fear these relationships could eventually create an informal strategic bloc, capable of challenging Western military dominance in several regions at once. While there is no official alliance publicly announced, the coordination is becoming harder for global intelligence agencies to ignore. Meanwhile, Israeli defense officials continue preparing for worst-case scenarios. Israel has increased monitoring and preparations for potential multi-front conflicts involving missiles, drones, and cyber attacks. The concern inside Israeli security circles is growing because future threats may no longer come from a single direction. Military planners now worry about coordinated attacks involving multiple actors, advanced technologies, and overwhelming numbers of projectiles launched within short periods of time. At the same time, U.S. officials remain deeply focused on preventing a broader regional war. American military assets remain stationed throughout the Middle East, while Washington continues balancing diplomatic pressure, military deterrence, and alliance commitments across multiple global hotspots. But experts warn that the modern world has entered a period of dangerous unpredictability. One miscalculation, one failed intelligence assessment, or one unexpected military escalation could rapidly trigger a wider international crisis. Economic concerns are also beginning to rise. Financial analysts warn that any major conflict involving Iran could severely disrupt global oil shipments and energy markets. Because the Middle East remains one of the world's most critical energy regions, even limited instability could send shockwaves through global economies already struggling with inflation and uncertainty. Meanwhile, social media continues amplifying every new development. Dramatic headlines, military animations, leaked reports, and speculative videos are spreading faster than ever before, shaping public perception in real time. Millions of people around the world are now following geopolitical tensions almost like a live global drama unfolding online. There is also growing discussion surrounding China's role in this changing global landscape. Although Beijing remains cautious publicly, many analysts believe China benefits strategically from a world where American influence becomes increasingly divided across multiple regions and crises. As these geopolitical relationships deepen, the international system itself may be entering a historic period of transformation. The balance of power that shaped global politics for decades is beginning to shift under the pressure of new alliances, emerging technologies, and rising military competition. Tonight, global leaders are watching closely as tensions continue building across multiple fronts. Because what may appear today as isolated regional developments could eventually become part of a much larger global realignment, with consequences reaching far beyond the Middle East. And perhaps the most concerning reality of all is this: no one truly knows where the limit is. The alliances are evolving, the weapons are advancing, and the world may be moving toward a level of geopolitical instability not seen in generations.